Hi, I'm Douglas Estes, Associate Professor of Religion at New College of Florida.
I'm Alicia Mercado-Harvey, Assistant Professor of Spanish, Portuguese, and History. And today we have an exciting guest that we've been trying to get for a while. Tania, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Tania Combs. I'm an Instructor of Theater and Music here at New College of Florida.
Well, it's so good to have you, and there's so many exciting things happening, with the music program, but, we wanted to talk a little bit about your background, what you do at the college. You're an opera singer, right? And you have a doctorate in musical arts?
Yes, that's correct.
Right. And so you've been to New College for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
You came as an adjunct, and so tell us a little bit, how did you come to New College?
So I came to New College with my family, and we've been very, very happy here in Florida. I've taught a variety of classes since I've been here. I work in both the theater and the music department, so I teach voice lessons every semester, and I work for the theater department also. I've taught a directing class. I've taught, currently right now I'm teaching a devised theater class, and that's really interesting. We're working with environmental studies to put on a brand new production that's based around mulletfish and Cortez Village. So we're looking at things that are local that would be of interest for environmental studies, and we're creating a production about that. So that's really exciting.
Wow. And so every semester you teach 2 classes in the music and theater. So
I teach every semester for music, and I teach once a year for theater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's your arrangement. And you also are in charge of the concerts, right?
That's correct. In the spring, when I'm not with theater, I'm putting on a large concert that involves all of the faculty and all of the students that are taking music classes. So last year we had 2 really, really great concerts. For the composition students, we brought in some people to sing their compositions, and they got to work on their poetry and create brand new pieces that were part of that concert. That was very exciting, and the singers got to work with a professional coach and pianist in the area, and so they could learn a little bit more about their music. And so we put on a wonderful concert that featured the students and their work throughout the semester. And then we also invited in some professional guests and artists to augment our faculty recital, and I think it was a great success. We had a lot of fun doing it, and I think the community really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I actually went to it, and I mean, this is for all of you watching us. This is something you can come from the community and do every semester, right? It's at the Senior Auditorium, and it's a really fantastic. So look out for the calls, when this is happening. It's every semester, or is it every?
So that big concert is in the spring, but
then
we do have concerts every semester as well, but it's not necessarily one big concert with everybody.
Right, that's the spring concert.
That's the spring concert, yeah.
So look out for that, because they're really fantastic. We had people from the Sarasota Opera, like professional musician. It was just really, really good, high level. So very enjoyable.
So tell us some of the classes that you teach each semester, specifically for future students, and do you have a favorite class?
A favorite class? No, because I love all my students, and I feel really lucky because I get to work right at this intersection between theater and music, and that's very exciting for me. So I love having my foot in both doors. I'm both a singer, but I'm also a stage director. So that, and I'm also a creator of new works. Right now, I'm working on a new play that's actually, we're going to have a staged reading this Sunday at the Sarasota Contemporary Dance. And the play is actually based on the life of one of the artists that's in the Ringling Museum, a British artist named Edward Burne-Jones. So I hope it'll be a really fun event to go see But yeah, I'm excited to be working in that way. So I don't know if I have a favorite class, but I just love my students. My students are interesting. They're engaged. They're wonderful humans and individuals.
Okay, so I have to ask, your primary area is opera, and opera has the reputation maybe in some circles as not being the most culturally relevant right now. But how does Gen Z handle opera versus, say, earlier generations? Do you see more interest in opera today, similar interest over the years? What do you think?
I mean, I think little by little you open the door to opera, and I sing opera. I also sing jazz and musical theater also.
Right, yeah.
So I do a variety of things, and so with my students, I try to meet them where they are at, but then I also introduce a classical piece, and that is great. They actually really, really enjoy it, and they find that their voices really work well with it. So I, little by little, for something like that, it's like appreciating a beautiful piece of art. You
Right.
have to be exposed to that to really appreciate it at a higher level. So I think my students are enjoying it, and some of them actually, they prefer to do their classical pieces, and some of them prefer to do their musical theater piece, and then I have some that are like, oh, thank you for introducing jazz to me. That's really cool.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, that sounds, it sounds like, this opens up a lot of opportunities, for collaboration, which is obviously what we want to see in
Yeah.
students being able to explore music, theater, everything. And so that sounds really good. I wanted to ask you about your research, because I saw that you won some award, right, for your doctoral your
did.
dissertation. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, of course. So my doctoral dissertation was on representations of Latinos in American opera. So I'm interested, as I said, in new composition. So in the past 20 years or so, we've seen a lot of new opera that comes out that is based on Latino themes. So that's really exciting. I was born in Venezuela, and then also there's this really exciting composer. He passed away, but his name is Daniel Catan. He was Mexican, but he has a kind of similar background to me. He's a Sephardic Jew, and so I when I was exposed to one of his operas, I thought, oh, this is really interesting. Let me go and explore this. So yeah, I there wasn't anything like this, but I started looking at, made a list of all of the operas that have that are based on Latino themes, Latino stories, have Latino characters, and because no one had done anything like that before. So yeah, my dissertation is on that, and I've published a few things since then. I published something in 2023 on Daniel Catan, and then right now I have something that is going to be part of an anthology. It's not a music anthology. It's actually on globalization, and so I'm discussing an opera that was done in 2015 in Los Angeles that called Hopscotch, that is very much like Rayuela,
Julio Cortázar,
and
classic novel.
Just like that novel, it skips around to different time periods. Not different time periods, but it skips around to different scenes in a person's life, so it's not consecutive. It was a very interesting piece, so I wrote about that within that publication that's going to be released, I think, at the end of this year.
Great. And have you thought about making that into a book? Your dissertation sounds like a really fascinating
Absolutely.
topic.
I've actually had a couple people ask me, like, when are you going to do this? I'm like, I'm working on this little by little. But yes, that is something that I really would like to do.
Yeah.
So in ages past, in my experience, I've volunteered in some stage setups and stage design stuff, and the thing that I always gravitated towards was lighting. So do you have a favorite? Do you have an interest in stage? What's your main focus?
I mean, I like being both a performer on the stage, but I also love the job of a stage director, because a stage director, you're really looking at the concept you're creating your own concept based on whatever play or opera or musical you're working with, and you really get to work. You get to work with beautiful performers to create, lovely pictures on stage. So I love both the artistry involved in both of those processes.
And students could come and learn to be a stage director in your classes.
Yes.
That's the cool thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last year I taught a stage directing class, and the year before I did a compilation of acting and and stage directing theory and practice. And so half the students for our final presentation were actors, and half the students were directors. And so they got to have a hands-on experience, because I think anything in the arts, in order to get any kind of skill, you have to actually do it. You have to put yourself out there, even if you're so scared. And that's why I do for my voice students, I make sure that we do a recital every semester, because you learn stuff, but then you have to present it, because if you don't present it, it just lives in a kind of stagnant place. So there is that thing that happens when you have to do it in front of people.
Right. Yeah, no, it sounds like, the program is like really thriving right now. There are a lot of different things happening.
Absolutely.
That's interesting, because in theater you do this thing of like writing, and then other people kind of participate. It's different than the kind of writing I do, which is completely on my own.
On your own, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a completely different type of dynamic, I would imagine.
You have to be able to hear other people say the words, because when I'm writing a play, I'm in my room and I'm like saying all the words all to myself. But it's different. If I were to hand you the scripts, like, you'll interpret a different way, or maybe you'll have maybe something will kind of land in a different way than maybe I expected. And so it's really important to have others read those lines to see how they actually fit in real, because whatever you imagine in your head is not necessarily how it's going to sound, to an audience. And when you think about plays are really, they're part of the oral tradition. You want to make sure that when you listen to it, that you're understanding it right away, like what's happening. It can't be something that you digest. You read the sentence and I'll read the sentence again. You have to immediately digest it. So that all of that stuff, has to be worked and reworked.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything you would say to a potential student who is kind of on the fence about maybe majoring in music or theater studies?
I mean, I think it can only enhance your life. There's a lot that I know for me, my entire career has been in music and theater, and I feel like I have a very rich life, and I get to interact with many different kinds of people. Like, for instance, with this devised theater class, working with environmental studies, it's not just staying in one little area. I think actually that interdisciplinary work is very, very, very interesting and makes that kind of field so rich. And so I really, as a performer and creator, I love what I do.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why I asked that question is because with the rise of AI, there's a relook again at the humanities and the arts of being a well-rounded person rather than just simply being STEM. And and that's not critical of STEM, but it's just the reality of jobs in the future with AI on the horizon. So has AI changed your field at all at this point, do you think?
I mean, I think in little ways that could be exciting. Like, for instance, I know that some of the composition students are using recording software that is able to, if maybe they're working on a guitar, for instance, this software can write down all the notes that they've been playing. So it can enhance their the ability to create music and make music. So I think and for sure there are always things to be leery about. But at this time, I think you also have to embrace new technology and see how it can be of benefit to you.
Right. So you haven't seen a rise of people trying to write plays, for example, with AI? Because in the literature world, we've seen this happening, contests having to disqualify people, because of writing. No, for sure.
AI. I'm sure that people are doing that, and I think things that I'm not even aware of. I'm sure that is happening, and those are things that are problematic for sure. And there are no easy solutions for how to deal with that, because on one hand you have a great technology that can serve as an assistant to you, and then the other hand, people are using it in ways that are inappropriate, and are fundamentally there are some ethical issues with that.
Right. So this has been a great conversation.
Yeah.
Before we go, I just wanted to ask you, do you have a date for the next concert that you're doing? Because we know this Sunday, this play is happening, right?
That is something we're negotiating, because we have several music faculty members, and so we're negotiating for the same space. So right now I don't.
Right, but it will be sometime in like the November, December, right?
Yes.
So for people to be on the lookout for announcements, that this concert, and don't miss it because it's really, really good.
Right. Absolutely.
I think the thing is that there's always stuff going on. Like there's always, it's not like it's a one-off kind of thing at all, is what we're trying to convey. So it's just
exactly
a lot of cool stuff.
A lot of exciting things happening at New College. Like we had our event on Sunday, and there were like 2 or 3 things happening also on Sunday.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So we want to invite you to send us your comments, questions, anything, and we will see you next week with another exciting faculty member of New College of Florida.